Alright, so it's finally time to start on the wiring. Be going over all the parts I have and the parts I have coming to get everything done. Been watching a few videos, and there's one from I think Brothers Truck and Parts that really helped out. Showed a bunch of tips and information on wiring. Even though it wasn't specifically for this, it was just wiring in general. That video helped out a lot. I've watched other videos too, and they've helped out, but this one had a lot of tips and things you don't see in other videos. So I'll probably put a little screenshot up of the video I'm talking about, but just go over the parts I have for it. So it's just some of the parts. I still have some coming in that should be in within the week, I believe. So start off with, I did have the old wiring harness. I went through a couple boxes and thought I threw all of it out, but I did have it, and I'm lucky I kept it because it has like some of the connectors and everything on the back. Shows you how many you need and where they go. Obviously this this harness has seen better days. It's all cut up. I'm not sure if anything's missing there, but it's seen better days. But I'm glad I have it. I kind of get a idea for how it was laid out, how it was routed, but I won't be using any of it. Did cut a couple of the connectors off. Go over it later just to see what type of connectors I needed and how many. But we'll start with the main thing. It is a Painless Performance kit. It's a 23 circuit Pro Series, part number 10403. And I went with the Pro Series just because it had a few more connectors in there and just things that are supposed to help out. And I'd rather have extra pieces and then rather than less, so that way I don't have to keep running to the parts store to get other parts. Just go over what's in the box real quick. It does come with the template on if you're running it through the firewall, where you need to drill and everything. And on the Monte, there's already a hole for it, so I might need to cut out the holes a little bit more, or a little bit more for the bolts to go through, but I think the main hole is a pretty good size. I don't know what that is, just a couple pieces of extra wiring. This goes with the Terminator X stuff, so I'll set this off to the side. But this is Sloppy Mechanics alternator and flex fuel sensor wiring. So I'll go with the Terminator X, which I have here. That'll be its own video. Like I said, that doesn't take too much to wire up. I've done it before on the Elco, but this one probably be a couple part series on the wiring. I've never done it before, so it might take me a while, but I'll be starting on it this week, and we'll see how long it takes. Which you have the main harness here, all the fuses, the flashers, a couple relays. So that's going to be the bulk of it. You have this section here. I think this section all goes to the front of the car. So it's all headlights, turn signals, and all that stuff. A bunch of zip ties, connectors. I think these are the sockets for the side markers, ground straps, sockets for the courtesy lights, some gaskets or grommets. It does have electrical tape. I don't plan on using electrical tape. I think I'm either going to use wire loom, or there's it's like a fabric tape that I have all on the Elco, so I'll probably order some of that. Extra fuses, butt connectors, all that stuff. I probably won't be using this style butt connector. Have a couple fittings and plugs, so that's good. I'll be using the solder seal wire connectors, so they have the solder built into them. You heat them up, and it's pretty much a heat shrink. So that's the style I'll be using, rather than just the crimp-on ones. Got these from my neighbor. So comes from ground wires, and then the power wire. I believe this goes from the starter to the fuse, or the fuse in here. So I'll go over everything when I actually go through the process of installing it. But more heat shrink, I think a fuse there, and some other connectors. More heat shrink, some dielectric grease. I think that's for the ignition column. I think that's the fuse there. You have to pin everything into it. So yeah, that's all what's in the box for the most part. I'll put it all back before everything gets lost. But it did help also reading or skimming through the instructions. So I did skim through it, read most of it, but there's some stuff that just goes off. And I'll just figure it out along the way. Like I said, watching that video, it helped me out a lot. So I can always go back watching the video and look in the book as I'm going along. So some of the parts I ordered, have them here. Ordered some sockets, the shifter, and I have relays for the fans on the radiator. But I did pick up new crimpers and wire cutters. So a ratcheting crimper and wire cutters. So I'm not using old style that sometimes they cut, sometimes they don't. I'll go over these sockets here in a second. So these are the old ones. I cut off the old wiring harness just to see what style I needed. And I was a little concerned because I think this one only had 2 and this one had 3 wires coming off of it. But this was the only one. All the other ones had 3. And with the universal wiring harness, I don't think it's going to matter. So I went ahead and just got 4 more of the ones with the 3. Couldn't find the ones with 2 wires. Same thing with these ones. So this one had 4 wires coming off of it. The other ones had 3. So I try to find them with the 4, but I don't think it's going to matter with the universal kit. But I'll go over how many I needed and part numbers here shortly. So those are all for the, I think this was the rear turn signal reverse light, and then this was the front parking light. So that was those. These were the 2 tail lights, and then obviously the side marker and the license plate lights are the smaller ones. So yeah, I did get 3 of these. Still need to pick up 1 more. These are for the tail lights. Just Dorman part number 85832. So 4 of these. You got 4 of these for the 2 parking lights and then 2 turn signals, or 2 reverse lights. So that's part number 85830. And then I only needed 2 of the license plate lights. Like I said, the Painless kit comes with the side marker lights. It comes with those sockets. So these ones, part number 85814. So I think they're all the right parts. They all fit. They all look identical to the old ones. And I picked up the bulbs that said it needed to go with. Should probably still pick up some of these bulbs for that, but that'll be at a later date. But yeah, the bulbs for all the tail lights and reverse lights for these sockets, 1157. I went for all the clear ones instead of the amber, so shouldn't make too much of a difference. These relays for the fans, they came with the radiator and fans as a kit, so I'll be using them. If they mess up, I'll redo it, but for the most part, since they came with it, I'll use them. And I think they'll integrate into the Terminator X system, not the Painless. I could be wrong, but I think with the Elco, there's an activation switch or wire in the Terminator X that I use, so that's what I might run the activation into, and obviously the power and the ground would be its own. But yeah, I think just 3 wires. So yeah, I'll go over all that. I know it's been a few months, but had 1 subscriber, I think it's your boy RB. He asked about the wiring the Intrepid fans on it, so I'll go over that when I get to that step. Did get a new lock cylinder, so finally got some keys for it. Be swapping that out. Not sure what these are. It looks like a coolant temp sensor maybe, so that'd be for the fans. All that stuff's for the fans. And also ordered the shifter, because with the wiring harness you're going to need a neutral safety switch, so figured instead of having it as a column shifter and wiring everything up in there for the column shifter, I'll remove that and I'll make it a floor shifter. So I double checked and found one that is going to clear the bench seat and the dash, and it came with the neutral safety switch. So I still have to, well, I ordered and I'm just waiting for it, is the backup light switch. So those will both be connected to the shifter. Just went with the B&M one. Probably won't be reusing these switches anytime soon, but I just like the way it looked, and it was the right size for what I needed. But like I said, it comes with the neutral safety switch. I think the backup light switch is about the same size, so I had to order those. Still waiting on my 4-speed shift pattern plate. Right now it's just a 3, so I have the 4-speed one ordered. And that's pretty much it. It's probably be over the next week or so, depending on how long it takes. Like I said, I've never done it before, but after watching a few videos, it doesn't seem too bad. I had the headlights, so those come with its own adapters for the headlights, so I don't have to worry about those. But I will be ordering, well, I'll be wiring them up with the Painless kit. This kit, you could do, it works for the single headlights with the high beam, low beam integrated, or the dual headlights with the high beam, low beam separated. So you do both of those. I have the lenses for the parking lights coming in, and the dome light. Had to order that also. But other than that, like I said, that's pretty much it. It looks like a lot, but after watching a few different videos, reading through the instructions, it doesn't seem as bad as I thought it would be. Only problem is I have to figure out if I want to tuck everything where you can't see it or leave some stuff out. But I think for the most part, I'm going to try to hide as much as I can just to keep the engine bay somewhat clean. So, yeah, I did mount up the bracket for the manual brake setup. I just cut up the intake piping, or the intercooler piping, so I'm gonna have to modify that a little bit to get it to work. And then point out on the last one, I'm gonna have to cut this pipe right here just to get it to work. But everything else is getting close. I know there's a bunch of people that are wanting to see it. I'm not gonna put an official date on the first startup, but I'm shooting for August. If I get it started up by the end of August, I'll be happy. Like I said, once the wiring's done, the only part that I really need to order that I just haven't got around, or I'm cheap, so the fuel injectors. I think I'm gonna run 80-pound injectors on here. I think they should be more than enough, especially for pump gas. But if I did want to run E85, I think they should be, the 80 pounds should be enough for the power level I'm planning for the car. So I just have to find out which injectors I want to use. So I don't want to go too cheap, but I just need to find the ones I want to use and order them. I think that's the last part, and just wire up the sending unit with the fuel pump. But other than that, that's about it. It's creeping up on a 15-minute video, so I think that's long enough. Like I always say, if there's something I haven't done yet that you guys want to see, just hit me up in the comments or hit me up on Instagram, and when I get to that step, I'll try to pay you a little bit more attention to. But that's it.